grace in its absolute purest form will reveal guidance about who you are. You can't feel disconnected. You can feel frustrated, but it's hard to feel disconnected when you know who you are. All right? So in this case, when you want this particular grace, this is a Jesus ritual. This is a Christ conscious ritual. So you will then go into that and ask for it using the Christ conscious ritual mudra and kriya that we're going to teach you. All right. So Christ consciousness is something you feel and hear, and then you bring it up. All right. You bring it up. So for this one, all right, going to place your fingers here. Excuse me. Let me get this right. Yep. Okay. You're going to act like you're doing Gyan Mudra, which is just this. Many people have done Gyan Mudra, touch your two fingers together, right? And then from that point, you're going to shift just a little bit. And now it's like Gyan Mudra, except it's this, with this finger touching and this, and then pinky pulled in. Pull your hands this way, move them down to the very bottom of your legs. If you're sitting, most of the time you'll be sitting, and pretend that you can reach the bottom of your spine, even if you can't. And then you're going to move this up like a spoon, moving the energy up. So in this motion, we're moving energy up while we are inhaling, while we're breathing and pulling the breath from the bottom of the spine all the way up to the third eye, because Christ consciousness is here. Okay, it's here, right here. So is the Horus consciousness. They're both one and the same in that way. So we're going to move that up, 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 and we're going to touch here, tap 3 times. I invoke the grace of wisdom within and without. Simple. I told you 30 seconds, right? Then if you want to go to the Horus ritual that also does the same thing, you will go on over to the emerald tablets. You need to understand the emerald tablets in order to understand what you're doing. Then you're going to take that same mudra, again, pretend like you're doing Gyan Mudra, and then change it a little bit, all right? And then you're going to touch the top of your head 3 times, and then exhale and push that energy with this same mudra, scooping down and out a little bit, all the way down to the base of your spine, or if you're sitting, just right down to where your lap is, right? That's it. All right. So while you're doing the Horus mudra for that one, what you're going to be saying is something that's straight from the emerald tablets. Okay. The father is the sun, the mother is the moon. A fire becomes earth. That is straight from the emerald tablets. I'm going to write that down for you. The father is the sun, and the mother is the moon. A fire that becomes earth. So again, with the Horus one, the best way to get it is to pretend like you're doing Gyan Mudra and then shift it, all right? And then tap 3 times, push down, push down, push down, push down, push down, push down. When you get to the very bottom of it, hear a little V, you're going to tap your fingers 3 times to complete it. Tap, tap, tap. I've confused everyone, haven't I? So Christ conscious rituals always go up with the mudra. It's the same kriya. You're going to be breathing in. So, okay. And then tap, tap, tap. Right there at the bottom of your spine, tap, tap, tap. 3 down, 3 up. Doesn't matter how many times you do this, though. that really doesn't matter. That's just you scooping up your energy, all right? And then you can tap here on the third eye for the Jesus ones. The Horus ones, you can also go here. It doesn't really matter like which one you go to. That part of it is completely up to your discernment, but it's tap at the bottom 3 times and tap at the top 3 times. Depending upon whether or not I'm working with the grace of wisdom, which is here in the crown, I may stick to this when I get up to the top of the spine. And if I'm working with other graces, which we'll discuss soon, I may tap here. If I'm working with other graces that have to do with my truth, I may tap here, tap, 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 just 3 times right here before I push that back down to the spine. If I'm working with solar plexus energy, I may tap to the left and the right side of my navel, tap, 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 and touch them together, right? I may do that. I may not always go all the way up and down the spine, but for this first one, when feeling lost and disconnected, we need to feel a certain Christed consciousness. So here or here is preferred for that first one. But it also depends upon what graces you're working with, you understand? So we're going to have to go over some of the emerald tablet, and we're going to have to go over all of the emerald tablet in terms of just its very brief description, because some of its words are in these rituals. And then we're going to have to go over the 7 graces. Every time you choose one different, we'll have to go over that one. So in wisdom, in the grace of wisdom, you're asking for a revelation about the guidance of who you are. So initially you don't have an intention, but once you get the actual Kriya that goes along and you understand the Kriya and you understand which chakra system you're working with, okay, you're going to be able to get a better understanding of why you had a feeling about which grace you're working with and why you chose it. Because the graces, when they are pulled all the way down to, say, the 2nd chakra system, that can be difficult. That can be a power struggle to have the grace there just reduced to the genitalia and our creative or non-creative form, right? But you'll start to get a deeper understanding about why you're choosing it, okay? But the mudras, again, if you don't know how to do it, just do the Gyan mudra and then switch to these 2 fingers, right? They're here now instead of originally here. We just switched, and now we've got these, all right? So we're going to tap, tap, tap of wherever we are at the base of the spine, okay? Some people, like if they're standing, like to put that closer to their genitalia on the left and the right side of it. Some people like to just put it kind of where their hip bones are, but I like to just kind of like form a V, kind of like right below the navel, all the way down, right there in that area. Okay. Yeah. So when I bring them together, I tap, tap, tap at the bottom, tap, tap, tap. Okay. Tap, tap, tap. And then I start moving them up the spine, up, 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 up. And then depending upon what chakra I'm working with, I'm going to tap, tap, tap again. All right. And then I'm going to say whatever Horus ritual we're on at the moment, picking something from the Kabbalion that relates to my situation. And then I'm going to start to push that down. I'm going to push it. Notice it goes outward. Okay. Outward on that one. You're pushing down and out. Right. And you're bringing that light into form. That's what you're doing and making that palpable. And then when you reach the base of the spine, tap, tap, tap in a V-shaped form down there at the bottom. You got that? That is the Kriya that goes along. And the reason why I call it a Kriya is because you're inhaling on the way up. Tap, 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 the bottom of my spine. Tap, tap, tap. That's it. Now, if I'm feeling, again, like I want to work with the ritual part of it, and I want to say something, that I'm going to invoke a revelation of the grace of wisdom. I invoke a revelation of the grace of wisdom. I invoke a revelation of the grace of wisdom. If you're working with that one, that's one of the invocations that you use. Notice I kept it very simple in that. You put that in chat, right? So you can ask for this in many different ways. You don't have to use that one. There are many. That's the one I typically use when I'm working with the grace of wisdom. But sometimes I'll get very specific. Say I'm feeling disconnected from my lifestyle or the way I'm living. I will say I invoke a revelation of the grace of wisdom about put in the blank. Sometimes when I'm in more of a contemplative prayer, I have to understand that I'm thinking about it. So God knows exactly what revelation I want. And I don't have to get so ritualistically wordy. So maybe you want a revelation of wisdom about your career. Maybe you want a revelation of wisdom about a better sex life. Maybe you want a revelation of wisdom about the power of your creative passions, which, by the way, is a second chakra thing. You have to understand a little bit about the sacred nature of the chakra system to get this, right? And only you know if you do. I've recently considered like having a whole class about chakra systems. But even if you don't, like if you just use the basic one and start at the base of the spine and go all the way up to the crown of the third eye, it still works. But when you understand a little bit more about what chakra system is at play and how you're feeling that disconnection and how whatever you're feeling that needs these rituals, they will work faster. For instance, when you're working with root chakra, the disconnect there is feeling that you're in survival mode about everything. You're too worried about money. You're too worried about your mortgage. Like that's the majority of society. You're too worried about survival and everything that represents in a modern world, right? Oh, I think that fly just tried to go into my nose. That's hilarious. You poor thing. Are you okay? My nose is not a great place to be. I sneeze sometimes. So when you're working with the sacral chakra, that is about your creativity, or if you're feeling unrefined in creative purpose in your life, you know, if you're just feeling kind of blah, it's a great place to work on that. If you are feeling overwhelmed about your identity, personally or sexually or anything, that's all second chakra and first chakra living. So you can work with that chakra. Why, fly, do you want to go up my nose? See, you guys don't see the fly. You just see me going like this. It's like when there's a bee in someone's car and they go nuts and you just see that. You don't ever see the bee. If you want to work with the solar plexus chakra, those are feelings of disempowerment. Typically, that's a power center. So is the third eye, but in a different way. If you are working with personal identity in terms of you've connected personal identity too much with your job or money or your relationship or whatever, that's also solar plexus. That's about your personal power struggles. What is your current currency of power? Is it love? Is it sex? Is it money? Is it friendships? Is it, it can even go into spiritual ego in the third chakra, surprisingly enough. Is it your spiritual titles and how renowned you are as a teacher, a healer, or whatever, your work, your spiritual life? Do you feel too prideful about it? Solar plexus disconnection is a pride-based thing. And typically, if you feel also jealousy or competition, that's a solar plexus and sometimes sacral chakra problem. So you can tap there, both going at the bottom, and then once you go up, go back down straight to that place and tap again. And that's how you work specifically with a chakra system in this. If you want to work with the heart chakra, that's all anxiety and depression and things like that come from a blocked heart chakra, feeling abandoned and unworthy, and the concept of feeling like you don't deserve something. That's all like a blocked heart chakra, feeling that unworthiness and undeserving stuff. If you feel like you're just shouting your truth at the world and no one's listening to you, you've got an overactive fifth chakra. If you feel like you lie a lot and you know that the lies are there to protect people or protect yourself, that's a fourth chakra. If you feel irritated by other people who lie, you probably got some hidden lies going on. You're probably not a very honest person, but you don't like to say that to yourself. That is a fifth chakra thing. I see more lies, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person if you lie. I see more lies in the world all the time. Little lies, energy lies, when you're saying one thing, but you completely betrayed yourself. Fourth and fifth chakra. You can do the ritual with both of them, one behind the other. Starting there, moving up, tap, tap, tap. Move back down, exhale, tap, tap, tap. All right, you got it? So easy. Tap, tap, tap. Right? Right. Even if you don't understand what you're saying, you don't have to use any of the rituals. You have to use invocations to ask for the grace that you're looking for. And then when you are using Horus rituals, and that's always on the way down with the mudra, you're going to use something from the Emerald Tablet or something from Alice Bailey's Solar Initiation, which were both channeled through Horus, and the Horus and the sun and sun energies that can help you. So the first one that you could use, this is about the one that I gave you, which I can type back out again if you want, for the downward energy of bringing the fire into the earth. Earth represents your body. Fire represents sun in the sky. So you're going to visualize a big golden globe. You'll notice that in August, on the graphic that I used to share about the law of attraction class coming up, there's a Gnostic mystic holding a sun. That's for a reason. You're going to imagine that. And when you're bringing, once you do your little tap, 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 when you're bringing that down, you're going to imagine a golden energy from the sun that as you're exhaling, you're like tendrils of golden light are like you're like they're following your fingers, like you just reached up and that tap just brought the sun here, the sun from the sky. And now like tendrils of golden light are coming down into whatever chakra system you're working. Tap, tap, tap. Got it? So here is a ritual invocation that you can use. Again, this is the same one. The Father is the sun and the Mother, the moon. Fire becomes earth. You can memorize that and say that when you need to bring that fire down. It's like bringing divine fire. Divine fire is creation. So you'll notice that if you read from, I believe it's chapter 6, is page 112 of Alice Bailey's Human and Solar Initiation. She talks about there being a fire and energy that can be brought into the senses, and she says that we know this energy from the moment we're a child in our 5 senses, that we know that. And it's very interesting to bring that fire into our actual senses as if we are a child, right? So this whole chapter is so incredible in this initiation. I want you to understand it in its fullness, all right? But we'll get there. We'll get there. So that is one of the things. Now, let me tell you another one that you can use. Just writing this down in chat for you.